In 2019, the Northern Policy Institute worked on population growth for Northern Ontario. Here's the story. It's James with Net News Ledger. Joining us by phone from the Northern Policy Institute is Charles Churchwell. Charles, welcome to Net News Ledger.
Thanks for having me.
The Northern Policy Institute has put out a 2019 impact report today, and the goal is for getting people to come or to stay north. What is in the report that our viewers need to know?
So we try to kind of do a summary of every year of the key things that the Institute got up to last year. And so when we looked at the work of the last 12 months, we discovered that there actually was a little bit of a theme around population growth in Northern Ontario, looking at things like the question of welcoming communities, addressing the issues of racism, looking at international students and newcomers to the region, and whether we were as supportive of them as we'd like to be. And then from the Institute's own perspective, in terms of attracting new perspectives and new members to the team, we looked at our Experience North program, which is our summer program every year, which, to be honest, is my favorite program that we run. We've been doing it for 7 years now, and it's always fun to see the new faces come in and kind of take a different perspective on the challenges facing the North. And yeah, so that was the theme, is that to talk to folks about what we've been doing as an organization to help the North grow.
Now, one of the areas that the Northern Policy Institute's been working on for several years is on filling the void in the North through the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Project. What's happening there?
So we've actually got a lot of irons in the fire on the immigration file. So not just the rural pilot, but also some things around the Matchmaker program that we put together with the support of some of the local chambers and economic development agencies. We've been running that now for 3 years as a pilot, and of course working a lot with students, and then the other streams, the Ontario nominee program as well. And all of them, as you highlighted in your opening, are of course impacted by this COVID. Particularly in relation to the question of international travel, health assessments, and whether or not people are going to continue to be able to take up those opportunities. And for that matter, whether the jobs that have been, frankly, left open for years are suddenly now simply going to go away because the organizations who were looking for those employees are going to cease operations because they weren't able to kind of bridge the crisis that we're in. It's interesting on the immigration file to see that there's still a reasonably robust demand for employees to fill jobs that people are not willing to take locally. So we still see lots of personal support worker placements still vacant, and a need to fill those. We still see challenges around truck drivers, even in the downturn with many of the manufacturing facilities shut down. There are still trucking companies looking to make sure that those spots are filled when the economy starts to turn around. So it's interesting that while many of us are worried about the potential impacts, many others are getting ready to continue to meet that demand, expecting it to come back fairly quickly.
Well, maybe one of the secrets out there is that the numbers here in Northern Ontario, or as I was kind of giving the Premier's office the gears the other day, I call it Western Ontario because Thunder Bay is actually south of Vancouver. But the numbers for COVID-19 in the North are very low.
Yeah, certainly. So first off, before I wander on to COVID and the low numbers, I'm going to jump on board your Western Ontario statement and say I enthusiastically endorse that language. I tend to call Northwestern Ontario Western Ontario, and what most people refer to Northeastern Ontario as Central Ontario, because you're right. We're south of most of the major centers, except, of course, for the Great Satan, which is Toronto, and that's how we get that north stuck into our name. So you should keep going and using that Western Ontario nomenclature wherever you possibly can. But on the COVID thing, I think you're right. It's interesting to take a look at, and in fact, the Institute is looking pretty aggressively at the outbreaks around rural versus urban centers, high density versus low density population centers. And one of the questions we're asking is, of course, is that a result of, or is it potentially added to by the fact that, frankly, in rural settings, we live a physically distanced lifestyle. We don't have to kind of brush our shoulders against 1,000 people a day. And so, does that have positive impacts when these types of events occur? And if that's the case, and we think that there are going to be more of these going forward into human history, maybe that adds an extra layer of incentive to take a second look at living, raising a family, and finding a work here in Northern Ontario.
One of the things that we're finding, and I'm seeing it with Net News Ledger for our viewer numbers and our readership numbers, they have skyrocketed, and we're global. I think there's 12 countries in the world that don't have someone reading Net News Ledger. And that includes Cuba and Greenland and some countries in the middle of Africa. But other than that, people are finding out what's going on here in North or Western Ontario.
Well, you have to remember that we've sent a lot of Northwestern Ontarians around the world to do interesting work: teachers, mining engineers, physicians, et cetera, and so when they're sitting at home with nothing else to do, it's a good chance to kind of touch base. And I think you're also right that in addition to those expats who are looking to kind of get a sense of how things are going at home, there's lots of people in communities where they're suffering, kind of saying, is this really the place where I want my children and grandchildren to stay? What if this happens again? Are there options for me? And of course, the ARNet program that you highlighted earlier has done a great job in terms of raising the global awareness of Northern Ontario as an alternative place. And so I'm not surprised that you're seeing people log in and take a look and see what's going on here.
So to read the report, people can go online to the northernpolicy.ca website?
Of course they can, northernpolicy.ca. And by all means, they can also subscribe to our newsletter or follow us on just about every social media platform you can think of.
And Charles, we'll be back in touch with you on more issues as we go forward. Thanks for taking time today.
Always good to talk to you. Take care.
Take care. Stay up to date, stay safe, and stay subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, join Net News Ledger on our YouTube and our Facebook pages so you know what's happening.